Hello, knowledge seekers. In this episode of 20-Minute Books, we delve into the intriguing world described in The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle. This insightful read unravels the mystery behind the cultivation of talent, presenting a revolutionary perspective grounded in neurological science. Coyle explores how the development of myelin, a substance that insulates our nerve cells, plays a pivotal role in honing our abilities. By examining the concept of deep practice, he sheds light on why certain training techniques and coaching strategies have been exceptionally successful in various talent hotbeds across the globe. The book is a masterpiece penned by Daniel Coyle, an accomplished author renowned for his best-selling works, such as the award-winning Lance Armstrong Tour de Force and The Secret Race, Inside the Hidden World of the Tour de France. His extensive experience, which includes contributions to prominent publications like the New York Times Magazine and Sports Illustrated, as well as his role as a contributing editor to Outside Magazine, lend credible and fascinating insights into the mechanisms of talent. The Talent Code is an essential read for several audiences: individuals curious about the true origins of talent, those seeking effective methods to practice and master skills, and educators or coaches aiming to elevate their teaching and training techniques. Join us as we uncover the code to cultivating talent and transforming potential into prowess. The Talent Code. Greatness isn't born, it's grown. Here's how. Introduction. Unlocking the mystery behind extraordinary skill development. Do you often marvel at the sheer talent of individuals who excel in their respective fields and wonder whether it's all thanks to their DNA or the environment they grew up in? Common perception might lead us to the conclusion of it being nature or nurture, but is that really the whole story? In The Talent Code, Daniel Coyle dives deep into the neuroscience of skill acquisition and shatters the myth that talent is simply a product of genetic inheritance coupled with the right environment. The truth, according to Coyle, is that talent is not just something you're born with. It can be cultivated, harnessed, and mastered by anyone, provided they have access to the three essential elements: deep practice, ignition, and expert coaching. Coyle's analysis is far more than just theory. It's a revelation on how individuals tap into their potential and how truly malleable human ability can be. As we unpack the insights from the Talent Code, we'll explore why Brazil seems to produce an extraordinary number of superb soccer players, and why leaning into the challenging zones of your abilities, and making plenty of mistakes, is the secret sauce for skill enhancement. Beyond that, we'll even delve into the dual nature of effective coaching. Whether it's the stern barking of commands or the gentle, nurturing guidance, it turns out that coaching has more to do with connecting and less with the style adopted. So, gear up to discover how anyone can build and grow their talents, one neural circuit at a time. Part 1. Demystifying Skill Acquisition with the Myelin Superhighway. Imagine the world's finest academics unraveling the complexities of the universe, yet still scratching their heads when it comes to the intricate maze of the human brain. It's the seat of our very essence, where every jump shot, philosophical pondering, and surge of joy originates from. Let's break it down. Our every move, emotion, and thought springs from electrical impulses that zip through a network of nerves we refer to as circuits. Each is dedicated to a specific command. Imagine a puppet on strings. Without the puppeteer's deft guidance, no graceful dance or expressive gesture could occur. Similarly, our muscles rely on signals from the brain circuits to spring into action. Without these signals, they'd be as still as statues. Wrapped around these vital neural circuits is a substance called myelin. For a long time, myelin was thought to be just a protective blanket, a simple layer of insulation around the nerve fiber highways. But recent discoveries have catapulted myelin into the spotlight, the unsung hero in our quest to master skills. Myelin isn't merely a passive sheath. It's integral to the speed and accuracy of the neural impulses it ensconces. Just as a wider highway allows traffic to flow at breakneck speeds, a robust coating of myelin ensures electrical impulses can hurtle through a neural circuit with ease and precision. The thicker this layer, the more refined and rapid our control over both thoughts and actions. The takeaway is captivating. Every skill hinges on the robustness of these myelin layers. The denser they are, the higher our proficiency. This biological foundation is the cornerstone of muscle memory, mental acuity, and every conceivable talent we nurture. Part 2. Embrace errors. They're the building blocks of skill mastery. Ever pondered why the mantra, practice makes perfect, holds such sway? The action of performing a task over and over can feel like a well-trodden path to improvement. But have you unraveled the science behind it? Let's delve back into the workings of the brain. Think of practice as sending an electrical dispatch, racing through a neural circuit. To master even the simplest skill requires a symphony of nerves firing in harmony. Each time they fire, the myelin sheathing those nerves thickens. Like muscle that builds with exercise, myelin responds to regular use. The more you engage a particular neural circuit through practice, the more robust the myelin becomes. And remember, a thick myelin layer means a surer, swifter signal. Yet, it's not just any practice that feeds the growth of myelin. The secret ingredient? Good old trial and error. Take playing a musical instrument as an example. If you play a tune that's second nature to you, you're not encouraging myelin growth because you're cruising on well-established neural highways. Now flip the script. If you attempt an unfamiliar piece, those inevitable initial stumbles are actually prime opportunities for myelin enhancement. By zeroing in on the parts that challenge you and ironing out errors through repetition, you're kindling the nerves and fueling the myelin around new pathways. It's this iterative process of stumbling, correcting, and improving that sharpens your skills. This is why pushing boundaries to the point of fumbling isn't just okay, it's essential. It's the heartstrings of progress. As we'll explore, what the author terms deep practice is not simply repetition. It's a transformative journey through the rough terrain of mistakes to the peak of prowess. Part 3. Mythbuster. The real recipe for skill goes beyond genes and upbringing. Marveling at the masterpieces of Michelangelo, it's easy to fall into the romantic belief that such prowess is the gift of genetics or the inevitable product of an art-conducive environment. Essentially, the nature and nurture duo. This idea tends to paint skills as largely preordained, rooted in our DNA or the soil we grow from, and yet knowing how myelin works casts a shadow of doubt over this conventional wisdom. Consider how pockets of extraordinary talent often emerge in specific regions or eras, like the great artists of Renaissance Florence in the 15th century. If we attribute extraordinary ability solely to nature and nurture, this historical burst of genius becomes a puzzling anomaly. If genes were solely responsible for talent, the idea that so many artistic virtuosos would spontaneously converge in Florence within a mere couple of generations defies statistical plausibility. Alternatively, if nurture were the key, then the turbulent conditions of 15th century Florence, hardly a utopia of peace, freedom, and wealth, still don't provide a satisfactory explanation. So what's cooking beneath the simmering surface of such a talent hotpot? Enter the concept of deep practice. The craft guilds of Renaissance Florence saw young apprentices, including Michelangelo, who started at the tender age of 6, undergo rigorous, years-long tutelage under seasoned masters. This wasn't just casual instruction. It was deep practice in its purest form. Such focused, disciplined, and repeated engagement invariably led to the thick layers of myelin that sculpted their extraordinary abilities. This realization acts as the linchpin to understanding that innate genius is less a lightning strike of genetic fortune and more the fruit of laborious and precise practice. Michelangelo's awe-inspiring legacy, therefore, can be viewed not as the blossoming of an inborn talent, but as the culmination of relentless dedication to his craft. Each of us holds a similar power to significantly shape and enhance our skills, navigating the path of deep practice that lies well within our control. Part 4. Secret Trio Behind Talent: Practice, Passion, and Guidance from the Masters. Deep within the vibrant crucibles of exceptional skill, known to the world as talent hotbeds, the author unearthed a three-tiered formula that molds mere mortals into maestros: deep practice, ignition, and master coaching. The first tier, deep practice, isn't just about quantity of time spent, it's about the quality, the strain, the pushing of one's limits to foster myelin growth where it counts. A classic example is uncovered on the soccer fields of Brazil. The secret? A game known as futsal, a unique twist to traditional soccer that turns out to be an incubator for soccer prodigies. The ball here is smaller and heavier. The pint-sized pitch is boxed in. The constraints force players to sharpen their skills with heightened precision, tuning their brains and bodies to soccer's demands through repeated, precise practice. Next, we stoke the fires with ignition. It's about the spark, the moment or event that lights up a blinding realization that I can do this too. Take the inspirational saga of Andrew Jones from Curaçao, who blasted his way into baseball history during the 1996 World Series with 2 home runs. This feat didn't just reserve a spot for Jones in the annals of sport, it struck a chord with the youth of Curaçao, fueling dreams and fostering a generation of aspirants with bats in hand, ready to follow his lead. Finally, there's the pivotal role of master coaching. Think of a coach as the maestro who orchestrates the blending of deep practice with spurs of ignition. These coaches possess an uncanny ability to spot potential and stoke the embers of talent. Case in point, Tom Martinez, a retired football coach with a knack for refining quarterbacks to the hilt. Martinez could read into the raw materials of an athlete, advise clubs on valuable picks, and quite literally, be the wind beneath the wings of many a football player embarking on the vault to greatness. Scanning the globe's talent havens, these 3 ingredients consistently align: the rigorous discipline of practice, a catalytic moment of motivational fire, and the guiding hand of a seasoned sage. Together, they script the chronicle of talent, a narrative of hard-earned skill and the deliberate endeavor that eventually pays off in excellence. Part 5. Mastering the Art of Deep Practice: Chunk, Repeat, and Embrace the Challenge. Bearing witness to a virtuoso pianist casting a spell with seamless melodies, or an athlete executing a perfect play, it's tempting to think such brilliance flows effortlessly. But beneath the surface, a rigorous method known as deep practice has been at work, consisting of 3 crucial components. The initial step is chunking up a skill. Envision your chosen task as a complete puzzle, then meticulously dismantle it to scrutinize each individual puzzle piece. By focusing on these minuscule elements, you delve into the intricate anatomy of your craft, understanding every nuance. Imagine you're learning a complex piece on the piano. The tendency may be to play from start to finish, but in reality, the potency of practice lies in taking the composition apart, dissecting it into manageable, digestible segments. This process often entails a deceleration, a concentrated effort to slow down motion, to pinpoint errors and hone precision. On a trek to a New York Music Academy, a talent incubator, the author observed musicians engaging with their pieces in a fragmented, almost scrambled sequence. It was only when they saw the full picture and reunited these fragments that the pieces clicked, embedding a thorough grasp of each note. The next ingredient in the recipe for deep practice is repetition, a relentless, patient revisiting of these chunks. Picture a nerve pathway reinforcing its myelin sheath. This happens only through the ceaseless act of doing and redoing. The upshot? Skills become swifter, the movement crisper. Yet the road to mastery isn't lined with familiar landmarks. Deep practice beckons us to step out of our comfort zone, and confront the unwieldy. Rote repetition of tasks well mastered doesn't carve the path forward. Instead, we edge just beyond our current grasp of ability. Studies of infants learning to walk bear out this principle. Those little bundles of potential stumble, fall, rise, and in the act of repeatedly failing and persevering, they ultimately find their stride. The discomfort of error isn't something to shy away from. It's our guidepost, a signal we're on the precipice of growth. So when deep practice beckons, chunk it, repeat it, and dare to venture into the realms of difficulty. It's in meeting these challenges that our talents truly flourish. Part 6. The spark that fuels mastery, finding your ignition. Ever watched someone immersed in their craft and assumed they were born with an insatiable zeal for their skill? You bet. Personal affinity plays a role, but oftentimes the impetus for embarking on the arduous journey of skill refinement isn't a magical inner calling. Rather, it comes from an external spark that sets off the blaze of dedication. To cultivate a skill, you're called to the grueling yet rewarding arena of deep practice. And let's be clear, this kind of practice is no cakewalk. It demands a reservoir of motivation as deep as the practice itself. Enter ignition, the external flame that lights up the belief that we too can reach the peaks of excellence, compelling us to commit to the relentless pursuit of mastery. Let's take a journey to the world of sports, where certain individuals light the torch for others. When South Korean golfer Seri Pak clinched victory at a major tournament in 1998, she didn't just win a trophy. She became the beacon of possibility for a swarm of South Korean golfers. Pak's triumph was a profound ignition, showcasing that success on the global stage wasn't just a distant dream, but an attainable reality. Nevertheless, ignition must go beyond the initial spark. It must become a sustained burn, a long-term drive, because the quest to master a skill is a marathon, not a sprint. Deep practice isn't a fleeting fling, it's a committed relationship, and myelin isn't hasty, it builds at its own persistent pace. Consider a successful charter school in the United States that lights the fuse with the promise of college. Every nook and cranny of the school experience is an echo of the word college. From chants to campus visits, embedding a culture of higher aspirations. The result? An exceptional academic track record that stands testament to ignition's power to fuel long-term goals. Scholarly studies have circled the number 10,000, the hours needed to ascend to mastery. To clock such formidable hours, personal engagement must align with robust, enduring motivation, ignition at its finest. It's not just about sparking interest, it's about keeping the flame alive long enough to forge excellence. Part 7. Coaching Styles, Lighting the Fire and Sharpening the Blade. In the grand theater of talent development, the solo act of the individual is often underscored by an ensemble of mentors, teachers, coaches, and parents. Each has a pivotal role in catalyzing the growth of talent through two fundamental processes: ignition and deep practice. Yet, not all conductors wield the baton the same. Different coaches serve different purposes in this symphonic pursuit. Some maestros dedicate their energies to steering their protégés through the rigors of deep practice. Consider college basketball legend John Wooden. When the author stepped into Wooden's court, he noted something strikingly different. Wooden wasn't in the business of fiery motivational speeches. His feedback wasn't laced with judgment, but with precision. Wooden's guidance was akin to a craftsman sharpening a blade, honing the athlete's skills through meticulous, clear instructions that deepened their practice with every pivot and jump shot. Then there are those whose genius lies in sparking ignition, often coming with credentials that might not dazzle you at first glance. An average ability, perhaps, but with a keen sense of what fuels motivation. Studies paint an intriguing picture. Many prodigies, stretching across disciplines from piano to tennis to swimming, got their start with coaches of modest fame. These early mentors wielded tools not of sharpening but of sparking. For the budding pianist hitting middle C for the first time, what matters most is the hunger to return to the keys. a coach who rewards effort, who showers praise and kindles excitement, who connects songs to the soul of the learner. This is the embodiment of ignition. It's infectious enthusiasm over technical excellence that keeps a novice's flame burning bright. As a talent's journey unfolds, the balance of coaching needs might shift. When a burgeoning skill meets a lit torch of motivation, the time has come to trade that gentle touch for the grindstone, transitioning from the nurturing ignition-focused mentor to the master of deep practice. The tapestry of coaching reflects the learner's evolving landscape, starting with a spark and evolving to a relentless polish. Each coach plays a role in the transformation from raw potential to refined expertise. Part 8. The dual expertise of master coaches. Technical wisdom meets tailor-made guidance. Dispelling the myth of the one-size-fits-all drill sergeant coach, reality presents a more nuanced figure, the master coach. Far from the cookie-cutter mold of their Hollywood counterparts, these coaches are the linchpins in bridging deep practice with ignition, wielding a blend of expansive field knowledge and a finely tuned sensitivity to each learner's individual needs. As the beacon for a student's journey into deep practice, the master coach doesn't just plaster over weaknesses with general augmentations. They hone in on the unique key that unlocks each student's potential. Consider the author's encounter with a music teacher who faced two distinguishable challenges. One student had technique in spades but lacked fire, so the instructions were adamant, loud, designed to stoke the embers of passion. Conversely, faced with a reserved, insecure talent, the teacher's tone mellowed, gentle guidance replacing emphatic direction. This art of coaching goes beyond mutable delivery. It extends to the very essence of communication, clarity, and precision. In the midst of the author's research, it emerged that master coaches are not megaphone wielders, but purveyors of insightful, succinct cues. Their words are chosen with care. Shift your stance. Focus on your follow-through. Each a calculated trigger meant to nudge the student further into the realm of deep practice. Why this meticulous emphasis on clarity? Because murky instructions blur the intricate map of neural pathways. For myelin to thicken, for those crucial circuits to be reinforced, students must engage with guidance that acts as a scalpel rather than a sledgehammer, slicing through ambiguity to bolster skill development. Thus, a coach's command of their field must translate into actionable, digestible advice. Much like a skilled trainer translates their anatomical expertise into a series of precise workout routines, a coach in any domain needs to convert their deep knowledge into the student's successful myelin enhancement. This delicate dance between technical mastery and tailored mentorship defines the brilliance of a true master coach. Final summary. At the core of every deftly executed skill and every awe-inspiring talent lies a biological phenomenon, the growth of myelin. This neural insulator is the unsung hero in the narrative of skill acquisition, and its development is pivotal for the blossoming of talent. But myelin doesn't thrive on casual encounters with practice. It demands something far more committed, deep practice at the precipice of our abilities, where mistakes serve as milestones on the path to mastery. It's within these moments of error and the ensuing corrections that myelin wraps itself ever more tightly around our neural circuits, sharpening and speeding our skills. Talent, then, is not a gift randomly bestowed, but a finely woven tapestry of hard work, sustained by a long-term motivation or ignition that keeps us steadfast on our journey. This journey is often curated by master coaches who expertly fuse technical insights with individualized coaching techniques, ensuring each student's deep practice is as effective as possible. Ultimately, talent emerges as a testament to dedicated practice, a spark of motivation to ignite the pursuit of excellence, and the wisdom of coaches who guide us through this intricate process. And like the meticulous layers of myelin, persistence, passion, and precision form the triad that unlocks the code to true talent. Thank you for joining me today on this journey of learning and discovery as we explored the insights of another thought provoking book in our growing library of knowledge. If you've enjoyed our time together, please take a moment to follow our podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share 20-minute books with other knowledge seekers. Your support truly means a lot. Don't forget to join me again in the next episode, where we will delve into another enriching book. Until then, happy reading and happy listening.